Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Boom. This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, plop down on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, and we'll try your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm your bored Shinigami, Joseph.
And I'm a super detective that'll rub your feet. My name's Chris.
That was weird. Okay. I'm sure we'll talk about that. And today, we watched Death Note.
Yeah, this was suggested to us by Patreon supporter JD. So thank you, JD.
Thanks, JD. So the show Death Note aired from 2006 to 2007, based on the Death Note manga written by Sugumi Oba and illustrated by Takeshi Obata, directed by Tetsuro Araki, produced by Madhouse, ran for 37 episodes, originally on the Nippon TV network in Japan. In Canada, ran on YTV, Neon Alley in North America in general, and then in the US specifically, Adult Swim. For a short synopsis, an intelligent high school student goes on a secret crusade to eliminate criminals from the world after discovering a notebook capable of killing anyone whose name is written into it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty accurate synopsis for once.
Yeah, it's not so general that it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and they also didn't give the entire show away in that one little thing, so.
That's something I wanted to say at the top. I know you've seen all of this or read all of it too or whatever. Yes. I implore you, please do not go too far ahead to where it will spoil things, because I genuinely am curious to watch and or read more of it. So even if if I ask a question, be very vague with your answer. That is my request of you.
I will do my best. I will say that just because I know too much, this is what I'm going to tell you right off the top that I struggle with. Because of how much I know, it may affect my overall rating.
That's my concern.
Yeah, but maybe I just won't completely explain why.
Okay, I like that. That's fine.
How's that? Okay.
Yeah. That's good.
All right.
Okay. So
fair.
just wanted to give that as a preface request, because I know, because you've told me that you've seen all of this.
Yes.
And I have not. It's a franchise I've known about, but haven't delved really into. So I only know surface level stuff. And even after watching these episodes, I'm still kind of there. So who were some of the actors who played in this show?
All right, so per the usual for an anime, I'm gonna give you the name of the original Japanese voice actor, followed by the American counterpart. So for Light Yagami, we had Mamoru Miyano and Brad Swale, Chief Soichiro Yagami, Noya Uchida, and Chris Britton. Ryuk was Shido Nakamura and Brian Drummond. L, aka Ryazaki, was Kappei Yamaguchi and Alessandro Giuliani. Watari, also sometimes known as just W, was Kiyoshi Kobayashi and French Tickner, which I'm not going to lie, the dyslexia in me, the first several times I looked at that name just kept saying French tickler. and I did a lot of double takes before my eyes could and brain could focus enough to see that it, what the actual name was. So
yeah. Even after you just saying it the first time, I was like, that sounds like French tickler. So
yeah, exactly. Matsuda was Ryo Naito and Vincent Tong. And then Misa Amane was Aya Hirano and Shannon Chan Kent. And that is your main cast.
Nice. So for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Death Note cereal, Light Yagami and L are often represented as opposites, even to the point that Light uses a PC and L uses an Apple Macintosh.
That's very specific. I never caught that he uses an actual brand, an Apple. Huh.
Yeah, that L uses a Mac. Yeah, it's something you don't really think about. So that's just a nice kind of little thrown in thing just to really reinforce the opposites.
Wait, so were they inspired by those old commercials with John Hodgman and Justin Long? Where John was like, hey, I'm a PC. And then Justin Long was all cool wearing his hoodie. He's just
yeah, the hip young Apple user.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, hey, old man, I'm a Mac. I don't know what you're doing. I'm processing stuff so quick while you have viruses. Here's a tissue.
Yeah. But also on the PC side, we get to play actual games. So, hey.
That's true.
And we have a right click. So That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but but the Mac's just like, I can use Adobe products much better.
Yeah. Word processing, we gotcha.
We gotcha.
Secondly, it is rumored that writer Sugumi Oba also sits like L when thinking about plot. And the way that L sits is kind of like with his knees up, sort of just like crouched. Like,
yeah.
He has a very like villainous sit to him. Now, something I was noticing about his character in general is like, for somebody who's like a protagonist, he has very antagonist features.
It's true. I do know someone in real life that sits like that. And I know of someone who I don't know in real life that sits like that. In real life, if anyone was ever a fan of our podcast on the network, A Little Spooky, the host, Colleen, she sits like that. She sits like L.
Oh, I wonder if it also improves her thinking capability by 40%.
No.
Nope.
I work with her like every day. It doesn't.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. And then I know, like, if you're a fan of Critical Role, you'll see, like, if you ever watch it, you'll see Marisha Ray sit like that sometimes too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I get the kind of confined sitting feeling. Like the way that I'm sitting right now and often is with my legs crossed, sitting up in the chair. Like, I don't like to have my legs down. It just doesn't feel natural to me. So I kind of get where they're coming from with that.
Yeah, I do like how you're describing. I can't do it in my office chairs. When I'm like sitting at like the dinner table, I typically sit like that. Yeah. With my legs
it just feels better.
Yeah.
And it's better for your back, supposedly.
Oh, really? Okay. I was going to say, like, it's probably not. I was going to say, I always, like, when I am on my office chair, I can usually get one leg crossed up on my lap, but I've learned that is really bad for my hips.
Yeah. One leg, probably don't do it like one leg at a time. But if you're doing both legs, it kind of forces you to sit up straighter. So it's better for, if not your back, then at least your posture. So,
okay then. Well, there you go. Elle's teaching us something.
Okay, so Ryuk's character design is inspired by Edward Scissorhand.
Oh.
The protagonist from Tim Burton's film, Edward Scissorhands, from 1990, of course. Yeah,
I didn't even
you
think
can kind of
about
see
that.
it with like the bondage thing going on and like the staples.
Oh, Joseph. Okay, let's not check your search history. Yeah, I can kind of see it now.
Yeah, the Death Note cannot kill a person, and this is news to me. You probably already know this. Cannot kill a person less than 780 days old, a person over 124 years of age, a person with less than 12 minutes of life left, or a person whose death is set for a date and time that exceeds their original lifespan. So
I did not know those things.
Those are very specific things that I don't know if they ever go over them in the anime or whatever, but that's at least some things to note. So it's like, can't kill like a newborn and or a really old person or someone who's about to die and various things like that. So that kind of
I love how this Death Note created by like demons essentially has morals.
Yeah.
Wow. All right then. Why not?
So lastly, I wanted to mention the bans in Russia and China. A Russian court banned Death Note on certain streaming websites, describing the series as potentially dangerous for modern children. The St. Petersburg court system alleged that every episode contains cruelty, murder, and violence. Many parents in Russia have been rallying to have the series banned since 2013, following the death of a 15-year-old girl who jumped from her 13th story apartment, leaving a suicide note behind that was near 4 volumes of the manga series. So it's like not even directly related to it, but because the note was near those books, like they're alleging that it was because of those books or potentially because of those books.
Yeah. What if like her math book was nearby too? Should we ban math?
Yeah, right.
I'd rather ban math. Math sucks. Like that's that's obnoxious. Like, I don't care. Like, you guys are like, hey, man, let's make letters numbers. And then you got to figure out what this number is, which was a letter. And I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. Just give me like some simple addition. That's it. Let's ban math.
I like math.
No, you don't. You've just been brainwashed by big algebra.
Yeah. I've been brainwashed by corporate America.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No,
I've been fooled.
Okay. Yeah. So That's the Russian ban. And then
Okay.
due to many students around the world altering real life notebooks to resemble that of a Death Note
Oh, good Lord.
and writing names of classmates, enemies, and teachers within them, China banned Death Note in many of its cities, including Beijing, over concerns that many children, teens, and young adults may be influenced into committing acts of murder as a result of reading or watching the manga and anime series.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, it's just those things where it's just like the possibility of something, not even like the direct effect of something, but the possibility of something like, nope, just ban it. Don't even risk it.
Right. I hope China never sees a hot topic because they would lose it. If the president of China ever walked into a hot topic, he would lose his mind.
Ban Hot Topic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even now, like I went into a Hot Topic like a couple months ago and half the stuff is still Death Note.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's everything is like every t-shirt is black and it all is anime. And it's all going to be Death Note and Demon Slayer at this point, though.
True. And always Dragon Ball Z. There's always at least a couple Dragon Ball Z things. And then sometimes you'll find like Sanrio stuff, like the Hello Kitty stuff mixed in there too.
Yeah, once in a while, if you're lucky.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and start talking about the episodes we watched for today's show, starting with Rebirth, season 1, episode 1, where brilliant but bored high school student Light Yagami discovers a Shinigami's notebook and plans to use it to create a better world.
Let's talk about Light a little bit.
The bored but brilliant high school student.
The bored but brilliant high school student. Yeah. It's something that we could obviously relate to. Bored but brilliant.
I can relate in that I was once a high school student.
Oh man. But you loved spelling bees. So
yeah, maybe I was a brilliant young child, but that I grew out of that.
I think Light is a super interesting character because like you learn really quick. Well, I guess not even quickly. I mean, quickly in the sense of a series, but it takes a little bit to learn in this episode that like you see him as kind of like the protagonist of the series, right?
Initially.
But like you learn real quick that he's not a good guy. He's really twisted.
Yeah, but the challenging thing is like, yes, but his intentions, at least in his head, are good.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing is like, villains never think that they're doing evil,
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Bad guys always think that they're doing the right thing.
But that is one thing I really appreciated was the setup of him being the protagonist and our main character, but then taking that turn towards like, oh, he's kind of corrupt in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think like if we're honest, I think to be honest, we're actually following the antagonist of the series, and then L, and Light's father, and Matsuda, and some of the others are collectively the protagonists of the series, which I think is extremely interesting and is what makes this show right off the bat really stand out from just about anything else that you're going to see. Because, yeah, we started, Light just seems like a regular high school student at first. He's obviously really smart. He's obviously extremely popular because everyone's like watching him. All the girls are kind of fawning over him, but he's not really giving anyone the time of day. And then when he finds that notebook, I do like, though, that he's so skeptical to the point where like when he first finds it, he just puts it right back down on the ground. But then it's like that curiosity takes over and he comes back and grabs it. Like a lot of the progression of him claiming that notebook and experimenting it feels pretty natural as far as like the curiosity of like how I think a real person would go about it. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like it would be hard if I found something like that and I didn't know about Death Note as an anime or whatever, and even now that I do know, I'd probably be like, oh, that's probably something that was, either made by a fan or maybe it's just merch for the show or whatever. And I'd probably just leave it alone. Or if I didn't know about it, I'd pick it up, be like, this is weird, but I'll just leave it here. Or maybe I might even take it to like a lost and found, be like, oh, someone misplaced this, whatever. So I don't think my thought would be, yeah, I'm going to take this and I'm going to start writing in it. Not initially, but curiosity might get the better of me like it did Light. And what I like about his setup also is that we find out he's a genius basically, or brilliant, not by him like specifically saying it, but in small ways, like his mom being, oh, you got number one in your class again. But he's just so like lackadaisical about it. Like he's so
he
smart
care.
that it's just boring to him. Like school is boring to this kid because he doesn't need to try.
Yeah, she's like trying to praise him and everything, and he's just like, yeah, whatever, I'll be in my room. He's just like, eh.
Yeah, so he needed something to kind of enrich his life, quote unquote, or at least like make it more interesting. So this was a good outlet for that.
Yeah. So then let's talk about Ryuk, who I love. I love Ryuk so much. And mainly his love for apples.
Oh, yeah.
Which cracks me up. Yeah, Ryuk's super bored. He's a Shinigami, basically a demon, but they typically refer to him as being a god of death or a death god in this series, in like the dub and stuff like that. So yeah, he's just bored. Like I like that they kind of show him in like basically in like hell, and like all the other demons are like playing games,
like gambling, basically.
Gambling, yeah. And he's just over it. He's like, this sucks. I want something to do.
So the whole thing is him, like they have their own personal death notes, and he just like, I'm just going to conveniently misplace it in the human world, basically just to make my life interesting. So it's a crossover of two bored individuals who aren't, like, he didn't mean to drop it off to Light specifically. He just laid it out there to see what happened. And so it just so happens that Light was the one who picked it up. So it wasn't like he was meant to do this or whatever.
Yeah, I liked that too, because I think at one point he even said something to Light about that. Like he was just like, you're not special.
Yeah.
You weren't meant to find it. I just put it out there and you happen to be the one. He like kind of humbled Light with that a little bit. And I liked that. What I do like is every time Light either starts going off the deep end a little bit, Ryuk starts kind of giggling to himself like, hey, you're having a good time kind of thing. Like, all right, this is starting to get interesting.
Yeah,
but
he's almost like you became comfortable with this a lot faster than I expected you to.
Yeah, like almost like Ryuk's almost kind of like, oh man, you've got some red flags. Like,
yeah, this guy's messed up.
Yeesh.
But he's sticking around to watch just out of curiosity mainly, because he can't get he can't like get his book back. Like once it's part of the human world, it's like stuck there now, and he just have to get a new one for himself. So he's hanging around, one, because Light can see him now since he's touched the book, and two, just to kind of monitor him for his own entertainment. So this is his like watching the zoo that is the human world.
Yeah. And then we find out that he loves apples when Light's mom brings him an apple and he doesn't want it. Ryuk takes it, loves apples, which I think is great.
I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I thought someone had said, or one of the Shinigami or someone had said that like they don't even like need food or whatever. So he's just kind of eating it for fun.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, he loves it. He just loves apples.
Okay.
It's like the only thing that he'll chomp on. So
yeah. So this is essentially what. I did want to say, like, towards the end of this episode, or maybe at the end of this episode, where at first, like myself at least, I'm kind of like, okay, I see where Light's going. Like maybe this could turn around. Maybe he'll make good of this. And then like at the end, he's like, I will become a god of this new world I make. And I was like, oh, yeah. Wow. So he's immediately goes to godhood.
Yeah, he goes from like, okay, I'm gonna write a
one name.
Well, yeah, he writes the name of that guy that has hostages in there. So that guy dies, and you're kind of like, okay, an extreme way to solve a situation, but all right, I can kind of see it. Then he tests it again on someone that was sexually assaulting a woman, and it's just like, get it? Okay, yeah. But then he just starts committing mass genocide against criminals. Like it's playing that music and he's just going nuts, like writing all those like names in there. You see like, his face like going kind of crazy and stuff. And then he's just like, yeah, I'll become a god of death and I will be god of this new world. And it's just like, uh-oh. Whoops.
His initial idea is to wipe out criminals of really any caliber after a while.
Yeah.
First, it was just like death row inmates or people who were in active hostage situations or whatever. And then it just turns into like all criminals, like, and
Yes, all
to
crime.
purify the world such that people will, I guess it'll be a more perfect society, and that criminals or anyone who would potentially be a criminal would be like, oh, if I do crime, I'm going to get killed, so I should probably not do crime. So that's his idea, which it isn't a terrible idea in theory, but in execution, it's like you're just killing everybody.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah,
it is terrible. It's messed up, man.
So the second episode we watched for today's show was Confrontation, which was actually the second episode of the series. And this was the one that was chosen by JD, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay. The series of mysterious deaths catches the attention of world-renowned detective L, who confronts the killer on live television. So this is the follow-up episode, obviously, since it's the second one.
Yeah. And that's why JD chose this, is because this second episode is really what sets the pace for the entire, I'd say most of the rest of the series.
Yeah. I would say, like, you shouldn't jump. If you're going to jump around, I mean, don't do what we do and jump around episodes. Yeah. But I'm glad that they at least threw this one in there, because it feels like it should have been a part 2 of the first episode, because you need this for context for everything else.
Yeah. And I love that we get to see. Well, I'll say this. I think this is one thing this show does really well, is getting to take a break from what Light is doing and getting to see the reactions of other people in this world. So getting to see all of these people from Interpol or ICPO, so all these representatives from different nations, all reacting to what's happening. I really enjoyed that. So like some countries are like, yeah, hey man, we're cool with that, less criminals for us. And others that are just like, this, whatever's happening, this is like, obviously it's all connected, and like, this is murder in and of itself. Like that also has to be punished. We can't do this. And like, from my perspective, like, aside from this, like, the moral standpoint of like, some folks are not getting that chance to be rehabilitated, because of what Light's been doing. So it's just like, yeah, it's bad. It's really messed up.
Yeah,
so
on a certain level, it's almost like a parallel to police brutality towards people who have committed crimes, where some people are on the side of like, well, if they didn't want to get arrested or hurt or whatever, they wouldn't have done that thing. And so that's kind of where Light is, except on a grander scale.
Yeah, like to the extreme. Yeah. So it's like that whole argument going on, and then we get introduced to well, and you probably didn't know this, to Chief Yagami and Matsuda, but at the time, I'm guessing you didn't know that was Light's dad.
I did not, because I don't think they ever said his last name in that episode.
Yeah, so I guess I spoiled that for you when I was doing the character intros.
Yeah, you kind of did. I was like, oh, okay.
And I didn't realize that I did that.
No, that's okay. I'm sure it's not like a huge reveal, but it's almost like one of those things where I would have expected it. Because right when you said Chief Yagami, I was like, oh, okay, so his dad's the one who's on the case, just like other shows we've watched. So it's not anything that's too wild.
Yeah. And yeah. So him and Matsuda are there and part of that, and that's really what sets the stage for everything. And they brought in L, and I really want to talk about L some more, and I wanted to get your first impressions of, because I'd seen this, but like I feel like L's introduction and this episode specifically is so well done and so interesting. I wanted to get your reaction to L's introduction and then L's apparent death right away. Like what was going through your mind when you saw these?
Yeah, okay. So when I like the idea of L, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. It's like this. At first, it's just a letter that I'm seeing. I don't see what he looks like at first, obviously. And so I'm thinking, okay, it feels like a kind of villainous turn thing might happen. I don't know at that point. And then I see like him wanting to confront Light, face to face, or at least across screens or whatever. So he purportedly shows Light his face. And when I first saw that guy posing as L, I was like, oh, is that really L? And then I see Light like immediately like write his name in the book. And, there's that pause between like how long it takes and for someone to die. And I'm like, oh, maybe he gave him a fake name or something. And then I see him die and I'm like, okay, that can't be L then. It was a plant. And so sure enough, like that's what it was. And the real L is just like this like scrawny, sleepy guy who has like bags under his eyes permanently. What it was reminding me of was like, oh, this guy is going to take a turn like a Tetsuo turn from Akira. And so I was thinking like, it was so hard for me to look past as like, okay, maybe this is actually the protagonist just because visually I'm so pre-programmed from every other anime I've watched to think that like this dark looking figure is going to take some kind of dark turn. And I don't know that ever happens and I don't want to know, but it's like that just, I like the way they set it up to where your expectations are sort of turned upside down because Light looks like a good guy and L looks like a bad guy, but it's like those roles are completely flipped here.
Yeah, they're just completely reversed, and I love that. And what I really love about this is the gotcha moment that takes place. It is probably one of the best gotcha moments I've ever seen in like any piece of like media, like TV show, movie, whatever, where L's like letter comes back on that screen after Light thinks he killed L and then explains like he's just like, thank you. And explains like how they just figured out exactly like so much stuff about Light just based on that one thing. He's like, we said we were broadcasting this worldwide, but honestly, I had a hunch based on this and this that this was where your first kill took place. So we only broadcast in this prefect of Japan, and you just confirmed where you are. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so good. And you can see like the look on Light's face that he just got out because Light has always been the smartest person in the room. So the look on Light's face, he is just immediately in shock, enraged, and devastated that this person outsmarted him when he thought he had just taken the guy out. Like he looks so angry. And what I love about it is Ryuk is having the best time of his life, laughing hysterically. Like this is great.
He got you. Yeah.
Yeah. Ryuk is like, oh man, yeah, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Ryuk is that Michael Jackson meme eating the popcorn right there. He's just like, yes. Oh man.
Yeah.
It was so good.
That was awesome. And what I also like about these characters is they are both brilliant characters in different ways. L being like essentially the world's greatest detective kind of setup, but it's like they're definitely not perfect or infallible at all.
No, not at all.
Because, Light has his own issues with like thinking of godhood and all of that, and
he's got a
his
god
personal
complex.
corruption. Yeah, exactly. And then L is just like he's very intelligent, but he doesn't really have any social skills or anything like that. So it's like, he's intelligent at what cost? He's the world's greatest detective at what cost? And so that's where it's like, okay, it's great to have these fallible characters. So no one's like too perfect. No one feels too perfect at all. And any of them could fail at any time because of these imperfections that they have. So I liked that as a setup. So you're not feeling like, oh, well, nothing bad could happen to either of these characters because they're just too good.
Yeah, I would say Light has a god complex and also is a bit of a sociopath and definitely at least a narcissist for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And then L, I think he maybe he also is a narcissist big time, but also he is so obsessive and I would also say, and I get this from having watched this series with my wife, who is in the psychology world of things. I'm trying to remember what else I think she had said about him. A little bit kind of like he might have a little bit of like personality disorder, like borderline personality disorder or something, and how like he can't function with other people normally, like he's so hot and cold to people at times, and just like, yeah, just has a general, I mean, and you'll see more instances as you watch and stuff like that about how that plays out. But
yeah, I feel you skating around things, which I appreciate at least.
Yeah, I'll just, the safety of others ain't always his priority. He's too obsessed on the goal.
Yeah, I on a small scale at least, I can understand that. I'm not I don't have like intense social issues or anything, but there are times it's very difficult for me to not be either hot or cold on someone if I'm not understanding their situation. It's like, why, I don't know why you're feeling like this, because X, Y, Z, whatever. And so I, on some level, understand where that's coming from.
This episode, I also is just where the whole Kira thing started.
Oh,
which
yes.
We gotta
the name, point out. Right. So the public name for this person who's doing all these killings, which no one obviously knows how yet, but they have nicknamed him or them Kira, which is just like essentially the Japanese way of saying killer.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that is the name. But people are pro this character. I mean, there's a lot of people in the community or world who are just very pro Kira. Like, they are happy with what he's doing because he's taking out criminals. So surface level, it looks like a good thing to them.
I like how they do it too, because they're like, they very much played off as like, it's the keyboard warriors that are pro Kira.
Oh, yeah,
because
of course.
They're like, face to face, they're going to downplay it, but and they show it too. It's like, you see like, this one woman who, looks, really made up, like she's heading to her job on the bus and stuff, like she might be going to a professional work setting, but on her phone, she's like praising Kira for killing people. And she says like, destroy the world and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, it is that keyboard warrior mentality that's praising him. And I was just like, man, that's what makes this show feel fairly grounded and realistic at times with such a unrealistic plot.
Yeah. Like the social aspect of it feels very real. The power of anonymity that people feel, it's like, oh, no one's gonna know it's me. It's not a face-to-face thing. Here are my true colors, essentially.
For sure.
And back to the narcissism thing real quick. So for both of them, for Light and Elle, at the end of this episode, or at least towards the end, they're both just like, they have their goals and they're stating them. And they're like, I am justice is essentially what both of them think that they're on the right side of things, obviously.
Exactly. They're saying it at the same time. And that was a really good, I don't know, it was a cool way of showing how similar they are, yet also so different.
Yeah, like they're more alike than they know, even though their goals are like in opposition of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So the last episode we watched for today's show was Silence, season 1, episode 25, which was the highest rated, where Light, his memory recovered, I didn't even know it was gone, orders Misa to begin killing after Higuchi dies. All of these words are like mean nothing to me.
Nothing. It means nothing to you.
The Shinigami Rim, who also is new to me, realizes that everything is going according to Light's plan, and that Elle will arrest Misa as Kira unless Rim acts quickly. There's a lot that happens here, and this is one of those where I have a lot of questions, but I don't want answers to them yet. I want to watch through the show to get there.
I was going to say, is there any context that you want for this episode?
Okay, I guess if you can tell me like where Rim, the Shinigami, the other one, comes in without, if it's
Yeah.
not too spoilery, like how does she come into play here?
There is a second Death Note, and it belongs
That
to
is
Rim.
also like lost in the human world or placed
Yes.
intentionally in the human world. Okay.
Yes. And that is why Rim is present. Yes.
But Rim feels like a very different figure than Ryuk in the sense that she actually seems to have compassion for humans, or at least specifically for Misa. At least on the surface, that's what it seems like.
Yes. Not for humans, but that specific human, Misa Amane.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I guess that's probably all I need then for that.
Okay,
Just
yeah,
to
I'm
fill in
trying
a
not
little
to
bit.
answer any, like there's so many other things I could say and I'm trying really hard not to say it.
Yeah. So in this episode, though, what I immediately get to see, and I'm like, what is happening? Is L and Light working together on this case? And then
Yeah.
it makes sense because it's like, oh, like Light is really trying to get himself off of this culprit list, and not that he's on it really, but to anyone but L, I guess. But it's
Yeah.
like working directly on the case. It's like there's no way they'll suspect that it's me. And there's all
Right.
these things. There's this thing that maybe you can explain a little bit more because I don't think it'll be too spoilery. Is like the 13 days thing. Like they have to kill someone within 13 days of someone else for it, or else like what happens?
I think it's one of the rules in the Death Note, and I'm trying to remember. I think it's like if I think they die if they don't write someone's name in every 13 days.
Okay. See,
Once they begin. I believe. I don't remember 100%.
What I was questioning was like whether that was a rule that Light wrote in as like a fake rule, or if that was because I don't remember seeing that when he initially like opened the Death Note.
No, I think you're right. I think that was a fake rule that he wrote in.
Okay, so yeah, just because I don't remember seeing it, so I didn't know if that was just like Rim's book that had that, or if I didn't. Yeah, so okay. Well, I'll just assume it was Light's thing.
I honestly don't 100% remember, but I do feel like I remember at some point Light adding something to throw people off. Okay. Light does a lot of things to manipulate perception that it just can't be him.
Yeah, so like he does not have his Death Note with him at this time. And we see, or I see him like ask Misa to essentially continue punishing criminals in his stead while he is basically letting the trail to him grow cold by not doing that. So he's having her continue his crusade to take out all the criminals. And we find, or like they find out that Higuchi, whoever that was, wasn't Kira, because that was a suspicion, but Light is trying to mislead them this whole time. Like he's essentially throwing them off of his trail, or trying to completely, but you see the suspicion in L's eyes, and how inquisitive he is towards Light, where it's like, I can't prove it yet, but I suspect you, without him actually saying that.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with the animation of like, you can just tell that L has not been swayed. He has been suspecting it's still Light, and just every look he gives him, you can tell that that's what's going through his mind, that it is Light.
Mm-hmm.
And just the tension is just so like, oh, it's hard up and like until that point where L starts rubbing his feet and it's a little weird.
Yeah, that was where it was like, oh, maybe there's something else going on here. And I'm coming into this like, it's surprising for me to see L and Light working together, and then now L's rubbing his feet like tenderly, and Light's just like, yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. I was a little thrown off, not because I have anything against that specifically, but I just didn't know the relationship of their characters at that time.
Yeah. I don't remember that being in the manga. It might be. I just don't remember. But like, I mean, we know that L doesn't really have friends. So like, I've kind of taken it as like, I think L, even though he suspects Light, has sort of an attraction to him as well, like an infatuation with him, whether it's like And it doesn't necessarily need to be a romantic thing, but he has some sort of attraction, infatuation with him. And like he's trying to show some sort of like, I don't know, like affection in a way, whether it is actual affection or if it's affection to still try to get Light to loosen up so that Light trusts him enough to make a mistake, you know?
Yeah,
so,
true.
We don't know.
So
because L's just weird.
yeah, it could also be just because he is weird and socially awkward.
Exactly.
So whatever the case, that's a small part, but it was one that has stuck in my mind. Then there's Rim, this other Shinigami, the one who is part of the Death Note that Misa has. Like, she gets put in a situation by Light where it's like, oh man, Light, that is messed up. Or he essentially puts her between a rock and a hard place where she has to decide whether. So she either has to write Ryuzaki, who is L, as we know him now, write his real name in her notebook to protect Misa. But if she does that, then she's killing herself. Right. Rim is killing herself for lengthening Misa's lifespan by protecting Misa. So it's like
Correct.
she needs to do that to keep Misa from dying, but in doing so, she'll sacrifice her own life. And you just see like the dark stare from Light, and it's like, oh, geez, this guy is so messed up.
L is about to figure out who's doing the killing. He's really close, and Light set it up that way because he knew, like, regardless, it either one is gonna get found out and it ain't gonna be him, or he knew Rim would take out L and also take herself out. So basically Light kind of made checkmate there.
Yeah.
It's Light's big win, and he won. So Rim does it. Rim takes out first Watari, then takes out L and essentially herself, and Light gets away with it.
Yeah, and that's basically like, as far as this point goes, and this is episode 25, so that means there's still 12 episodes left in this show.
Yeah.
That I don't know where they're going to go from here. But as far as where it ended for me, L's dead, Watari's dead, and Rim's dead, and Light is the victor. And essentially, in his mind, and at least in my eyes, because I don't know more than this, that has essentially wiped all of the evidence clear too, because that was like Watari's like final. At L's request, Watari had to like wipe the databanks if he was going to die or something like that. And so everything's gone now. Like all the proof that they would have had gathered is just gone. So it's like, yeah, a total checkmate. And this isn't even the end of the series with 12 more episodes. Like where's it going to go from here? I don't want you to tell me, but that's what's really got my curiosity piqued.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we sent our kids to join Light on his crusade to cleanse the world of evil, or maybe just steal some sweet treats from L, then see what they thought of Death Note.
This show is kind of spooky, but in a fun way that also made my brain hurt a little bit. I did make my own Death Note, but instead of writing names, I just keep drawing this real cool pointy S all over it. I don't know why. It just looks cool.
Having the ability to kill people just by writing their names in a book sounds like a cool power, but there's no way I could ever do that. Not because I'm morally opposed to it or anything, but just because my handwriting is really bad. But the moment they come up with the Death Microsoft Word, bullies beware, because I'll be typing up a storm.
Death Microsoft Word. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. My handwriting was terrible as a kid, and it's still bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mine's really bad, too. And you know what sucks is Rochelle's handwriting looks exactly like mine.
Oh.
So it's like, so I'm constantly like, I'll find notes around the house, and then I can't even.
You're like, did I write this?
It's very confusing because I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember this.
Yeah.
So it's like, even though I thought my handwriting was distinctively bad, it's just like they're an exact match almost. So it's just really weird and bizarre. So yeah, it's confusing.
People used to tell me I had a doctor's handwriting. And I used to think it was a compliment. And the older I got, the more I understood.
Oh,
what that
you
meant.
sweet summer child.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, what overall did you think of this show without going too far into why you thought what you did, if it's, going too deep into it?
It's an incredibly deep and thought-provoking show. One that you could seriously spend hours debating the plot among friends, and maybe I've done that. And the back and forth between Light and Elle is probably one of the best rivalries I've ever seen. Like it's a very like I equate it to folks that were fans of like Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty back in the day. Light and Elle is like a newer generation of that can really rival that kind of relationship and with a maybe more deadlier outcome and process, but it's really good. But with other things that I know that Joseph has yet to experience, I have to include that into my overall thought. So that's just like a weird thing that with this show in particular, since I have read all the manga, I've seen the full anime, I got to give Death Note 4 bowls of Oops All Heart Attack cereal out of 5.
Okay. I appreciate the vagueness of that, at least. So it's like, there's a reason you're hitting it, but I don't know what that is yet, but I'll find out.
Yeah.
For me, this is one of those franchises that has been in my peripheral for almost 20 years now, which is crazy. And I just never took the time to delve deeper into it for whatever reason. I knew about the general conceit of the book that kills whoever's name is written into it just by it being discussed or parodied over the years, but that's honestly about it. Having now watched these few episodes, though, I'm definitely intrigued and will be continuing this series, whether it be in anime or manga format or both. And the really interesting aspect of it for me personally is the real moral conundrum that it places me in. And I ask myself, like, what I would have done in Light's place, because his goal of purging evil from the world makes logical sense. But where I find myself really troubled with that thought is that I sort of agree with him to a point. But I'd like to think, at least, that in that same position, I wouldn't start considering myself a god of justice, at least not so quickly. But with that kind of power at my fingertips, who knows? And then conversely, Elle looking more like a villain than Light, but really just being a stubborn, sleepy nerd with a sweet tooth who's trying to stop the Death Note killings. That is a really interesting way of kind of turning expectations on their heads. And I appreciated that for sure. So all that is to say, I think this series really succeeds at laying out a real, true moral gray area and challenging your perception of what good and evil or heroes and villains actually are. So for that, I give Death Note 5 big bowls of Shinigami Snap cereal out of 5, and think this one is definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I gotta say that much for sure. Like, I would recommend you watching it. I would say for, younger folks, it might be a little too much.
Oh, yeah,
but,
sure.
I'd give the whole 13 and up. I think you can handle it for sure. So.
Yeah, I think just in the title alone, parents can kind of judge. It's like, does Death Note sound like something you'd want your kids to watch? Because
right?
death is indeed involved.
Yeah, a lot of it,
Yeah.
Probably more than, a lot of series. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, though. Like, as soon as I saw that this was coming up, I was like, oh, man, I can't wait for him to see this. And I wanted to see his reactions because, like, man, like, just the initial few episodes alone are so good. And I love, and you'll get to see a lot more of it, but just the constant one-upping each other between Light and Elle is just amazing. It's better than like any other thing I think I've ever seen. So I'm excited for you to watch more of it.
And a really interesting part is like, I expected, and maybe it is at some point, but I expected Ryuk's part in this to be a lot more active, but instead he's just kind of observing and like enjoying the situation, which I thought was really fun because it's like, okay, cool. So it's not like this death god is really affecting anything that's going on outside of him kind of setting everything into motion in the first place, but He's just there to watch basically the seeds he planted. He wants to watch them grow and blossom and see what comes of that.
Yeah, he's just here for a good time.
Yeah, yeah. So that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
So thank you, JD, for suggesting this. This was one that I should have probably watched a long time ago, but I'm glad I finally am now.
Yeah, thanks, JD. Really glad to be able to do this one. And also thanks for being a Patreon supporter.
Yes, thank you for that, for sure. Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
Road Rovers, suggested by Patreon supporter Seth.
I'm trying to remember if I know what this is. I feel
this
like
was I was a fan of Road Rovers back in the day. So this was part of the Kids WB block back in the day on Saturday mornings.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking of, but because I was making sure it wasn't the newer one where it's like the dogs, like the kids show. You know what
this
I mean?
Is not Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol. That's what I was thinking.
No,
yeah,
I promise this is not Paw Patrol.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That would be. Oh man, I hope we don't ever do Paw Patrol.
When you first said it, though, that's what came to mind.
You're like, oh no.
Oh man, why?
No, I'm actually really looking forward to doing Road Rovers just because I really remember enjoying it when we were younger. It was not one of the original, like, first slew of the Kids WB cartoons because, that first block, from what I remember back then, you had your, like, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Batman. I'm trying to remember some of the others that were like going on back then. But Road Rovers came probably a year or two after all of those, I think. But it was good. It was fun. So
okay,
I liked it.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever watched it, but I know visually of it. So it'll be interesting to step into that world.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool.
Awesome. Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
We'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth,
a place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.